We are reading an article here from The Gamer. Doom: The Dark Ages day one numbers suffered significantly on one platform versus Doom Eternal. Doom: The Dark Ages received lower user scores on Steam compared to previous Doom games. The Dark Ages garnered significantly fewer players on Steam on its launch day than Doom Eternal. The game's launch being on Xbox Game Pass on a Thursday could have affected player numbers, but its success will be revealed over the weekend. Doom: The Dark Ages is already shaping up to be an interesting case. When reviews dropped, it became one of the most highly rated games in franchise history, but as things stand, after a day, it has the lowest user score on Steam of the reboot trilogy, although there is plenty of time to turn this around. Its Steam reviews aren't the only place where the game is falling behind its predecessor either. Doom: The Dark Ages had a significantly quieter launch day on the platform than 2020's Doom Eternal. Doom: The Dark Ages day one Steam player count hasn't come close to Doom Eternal. Yesterday, according to Steam DB, Doom: The Dark Ages peaked at 30,812 players on Doom Eternal's launch day in March 2020. The game peaked at 104,891 players. This means Doom: The Dark Ages only hit 30% of the player count Eternal managed on Steam at launch. Even Doom 2016 bettered the Dark Ages day one player count, peaking at 32,182 on launch before climbing to 44,217 that weekend. So we can see here, here's the data. We had, so this is falling behind of all of them, right? This is falling behind all of them. It's worth noting that there are a couple of serious mitigating factors this time around. Doom: The Dark Ages is the first game in the series since Microsoft's mega acquisition of ZeniMax and all of its properties. This in turn means that it launched on Xbox Game Pass, unlike Doom Eternal, which came to the service in around 7 months later. The fact that it runs so well on the Xbox Series X could also be another reason players were tempted to move away from Steam. Alongside this, Doom: The Dark Ages launched on Thursday versus Eternal, which launched on a Friday. A Friday launch is always likely to draw a larger player count as people finish work for the week and look to unwind the late night gaming session. In theory, despite the huge contrast with Eternal, Doom: The Dark Ages day one Steam player count should be nothing to worry about. There was likely a huge uptick in players on Game Pass, which ate into Steam's player numbers, but it will certainly be interesting to see how high things go over the weekend. Okay, so for this, I want to tell a very anecdotal story, and I want to be clear that this is extremely anecdotal. Okay, this is like as anecdotal as it can get. So, I actually bought. I have an Xbox Series X over there. I bought the game on Steam. When I loaded up the game on Steam, they told me that my NVIDIA driver or whatever once again, I'm not a tech guy, okay, but I had to download something, so I went on the NVIDIA thing on here and I downloaded it, and it caused my computer. I had four monitors. I have two set up here, but it said there was four. I couldn't get things to work properly. It basically completely screwed up whatever I was doing. And I want to take complete blame for it, right? Because I didn't really know what I was doing, and so I'm not going to blame the game for it. But I just am wondering if there were a lot. I actually went and bought it on Xbox instead. I still have it on Steam, but I went to buy it on Xbox because I was like, okay, I'm just not going to be. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to deal with it, so I'm not going to deal with it. Now I don't. I haven't seen that widespread people complaining about it, so I'm willing to believe it's a me problem. But I do wonder if maybe it was just so much easier to play on the Xbox, right? If it was just so much easier to um, get it going on the Xbox that a lot of people chose to play it on there instead of on Steam. That's one thing that I would think of. But like the article states, we could check in later, right? We could check in as it goes because this might be really taking off at some point. Game Pass definitely cuts into it. That's for sure. I don't know, and please put in the comments, did the prior two games have a early launch too? Because that could be something, right? If you have early launch, you're not going to get everybody there on the day. All I can say is, like I said, anecdotally, the reason I wasn't playing on Steam, even though I wanted to, was because I completely screwed up my monitor situation in the resolution. I was adding, it was terrible, right? It was just absolutely terrible. So I haven't loaded it back up on Steam yet because I was like, look, I finally fixed this thing now. I have it on the Xbox. Well, maybe we'll play it in a few months on the PC, but for now we're gonna play it on the Xbox Series X. I don't know if it's the best experience to play it on there, but I had the most fun with it on the Xbox Series X just because it was very simple to load up. I had it early, played about 10 hours. I would tell everyone they have Game Pass. There's no reason not to play this thing. Um, Otherwise, I would go out and get it because I do think it's a ton of fun. But there are also, you have Expedition 33, you have all these things that are out right now that I think maybe are hitting into it, right? I don't, to this point, I haven't seen the Doom coverage to be as much as Expedition 33 and other things. As you can see on our channel, we have a bunch of videos that are, I mean, we just kind of do this for fun anyways. It doesn't really matter the view count, but a few of them got no views. Like, I don't know if there's not really, at this point, like a lot of people like interested in watching the content and excited for the game. So those are all things that are going to play into this, but you never know, right? We will see what happens. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.